So much like yesterday, it's Norbert Kish versus Jochen Hahn off the front row of the grid. And as they come round the final corner, the third round of the 2022 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship gets underway. And the field starts to spread out very gently as they make their way down to turn one. Isn't that a hell of a sight? Jochen Hahn trying to squeeze Norbert Kish to the inside line at turn one to make sure he doesn't have much of a runoff. Norby gets the MAN in front. Jochen needs to make that Iveco as wide as possible now to stop Sasha Lenz from coming through as well, and he's done just that. They make their way through turn three, the right-hander. Where is Adam Lachko? Is he around here somewhere on the left-hand side? I feel like he might be. No, Sasha Lenz actually makes it over to the optimal line into turn four. Nice tidy start from those guys at the front. Antonio Albacete remains in fifth place ahead of Steffi Halm. Looks nice and tidy behind as well. You could see Jamie Anderson and Shane Brereton trying to make up places in the background. But it's the ideal start for Norbert Kish, ideal start for Jochen Hahn, and of course for Sasha Lenz as well. This is on board with Stefan Fast, blinded by the 66 machine of Anthony Janiak just in front. Ahead of them you can see Teo Calve having a go with Jose Rodriguez. Rodriguez actually making it up from 10th position to 8th already. Bit of a step out on the brakes there from Stefan Fast, or was it a tap? Because there goes Rene Reiner down the inside. The number 77 Iveco making his way through from 11th position. Into turns 9 and 10, a real check-up as they get to what is essentially the top of the hill. There is a slight incline as they go up there, and then a slight decline as they go down to turns 11, 12 and 13. Look at the size of these trucks there. You can see one of our trackside photographers taking some pictures. A piece of bodywork has just gone flying off one of them there, and that may have been from Andre Kurzim's truck. But Rodriguez making a good start and getting to the top of the Promoters' Cup ahead of Teo Calve. That's important for their own championship within a championship. That is for the drivers rated in the Chrome class, based on experience and previous results. They are either in Titan or Chrome categories. And again, look how close the entire field is together. Good to see Clemens Hecker still clinging on to the field there. Good stuff. After fixing that truck overnight, one of the penalty markers gets battered. They do re-inflate, actually, to those penalty markers, but eventually, if you hit them hard enough, they come completely out of the ground. Norbert Kish leads Jochen Hahn, Sasha Lenz, Adam Lachko and Antonio Albacete at the end of lap one. Into the chicane once more. You can see Jochen Hahn maybe not using those tyres up in the early stages like he did yesterday. He didn't have too bad a day at the office, did Jochen? Last time out, finished second in the first race and then finished fourth in race two. He started that second race from 7th on the grid, so he certainly had a lot of work to do, but he and Norbert Kish made fantastic progress, both getting through past Rene Reiner at the same time. Teo Calve has got back ahead of Jose Rodriguez in the opening section of this lap. We may see them just in the background of a shot. Antonio Albacete having a look down the inside of Adam Lachko. Those two had a very, very elbows out fight yesterday afternoon. And we hope that if we get more battling from them today, then we'll have hopefully a nice cleaner fight between the two. Speaking of clean fights, though, that's definitely not one of them. Stefan Fast battering the penalty markers there on the exit of turn 8. And there's Jamie Anderson on the left-hand side. Rene Reiner and Anthony Janiak swapping around just in front as well. Rene getting past the number 66 machine. Jamie's around here somewhere, side by side with Stefan Fast. Jamie kicking up the dust as he gets pushed out wide. And here comes Shane Brereton piling through on the right-hand side, the reigning Promoters' Cup champion, trying to take advantage of whatever battles happen in front of him. Stefan Fast losing a little bit to the trucks ahead, but still very, very close in this opening stage. We're on the second lap of this 12-lap encounter here at Misano. Oh, Jamie Anderson throws it up the inside and he's hit Shane Brereton and he's turned him around. Big avoidance needed by Thomas Robino. Goes off the circuit and off again around the penalty markers. I said yesterday, you can't get done for hitting them if you drive around them. But that was a big, big moment. You can see where Jamie's locked up on the right of your shot there. Humongous black streak of rubber. And Shane spins the truck back around. He will be very, very disappointed in that one. Clobbered in the right rear by his countryman. Just looked like a little bit of misjudgment by Jamie on the brakes. Maybe just trying to glue it to the inside of the Apollo Tyres TOR truck racing machine. That is a big, big old shame. I try and remain unbiased for the British drivers, but it's a bit gutting to see, I must say. Here's another look at it. Just after the contact, rips the front left of Jamie's truck off, and you can see there Clemens Hecker went around that penalty marker as well. He was thinking, well, I don't want any part in this. And now we've got that trio towards the back end of the pack. Jochen Hahn is definitely clearing off from Sascha Lenz here and staying closer to the back of Norbert Kish. In yesterday's race, actually, Sascha had a very lonely one as well. Norby and Jochen broke away from the field. Sascha Lenz made a fantastic effort up from 6th on the grid to get into 3rd ahead of Lachko and Alberthetti. But then once he got through, he was very much on his own for the rest of the afternoon, really. Anthony Janiak already has 2 warnings for penalty markers, apparently. So he needs to be careful because a 3rd one gets you a drive-through penalty. But Norbert Kish doing what he does best, leading from the front. You can see there the bodywork from Brayton's truck and Anderson's truck strewn about all over the circuit. Lachko's going well, isn't he? 4th place at the moment after having troubles with the truck earlier on from the accidents and contact yesterday. That Freightliner is certainly proving that it's a tough old beast, as is Adam Lachko as well. Not that I'm calling him old, but he's a tough bloke, is Adam. 389 starts in the championship before this weekend. So this is his 392nd race in the series. He's got 56 race wins, a title to his name as well. He was champion overall in 2017. The only driver in the last 10 years other than other than Jochen Hahn and Norbert Kish to win a championship. And we've had a 10-second time penalty for Jamie Anderson in the number 33 machine. I hate to say it, but it's not really surprising after the incident that we saw down there. It was for causing a collision and pushing another truck off the circuit. Bits and bobs falling off Anthony Janiak's truck there. We heard actually from Shane Brayton yesterday, he was saying that, you know, Anthony was getting his elbows out. It was very tough racing when Anthony made his way through. He said he hit all 4 corners on his truck. And Anthony, much like his livery, is very, very exciting as a driver. There you can see the penalty markers. And there you see a great view, actually, from our drone cameras. One of the marshals pulls away the mudguard from the truck. Really shows you the size of the bodywork, though, doesn't it? Look at that. Really gives you an idea of the scale of these machines. And there it is, confirmed with the judicial review powered by Sensata and Smart Witness. 10-second time penalty for Jamie Anderson. He didn't actually escape the wrath of the stewards too much last season, did Jamie, I'm afraid. He got disqualified from the 3rd race at Hungary and the 3rd race at Le Mans as well. He was the only driver to get disqualified more than once last year. The only other driver to actually get disqualified at all was Anthony Janiak. And funnily enough, he's the one with more warnings as well for penalty markers right now. I love these shots from the drone, though. The drone's a fantastic addition to the program, don't you agree? I think the guys have done a great, great job in dialing that in. Obviously, there are a lot of limitations and laws and regulations about where drones can be and when, so we have to be very careful about that, but the guys have done a fantastic, fantastic job to make sure that's been worked around and that at least we can get some shots from it down there at turns 13 and 14. It's a difficult place, actually, for a camera to do that corner justice, and it's great to see that the drone is doing so. Here's Norbert Kish, though, race leader, championship leader, reigning champion, triple champion. Well, the list goes on for Norbert Kish and his achievements. The 37-year-old, very, very impressive. He's an avid sim racer as well. And you will often see him in the digital version of the FIA European Truck Racing Championship, and he's often P1 there as well. But that Revace Racing truck, I mean, it looks fast, doesn't it? It looks absolutely rapid. The way that the body language works on that truck You can see how it's behaving, see how it works in the corners. It makes the other trucks stiff in comparison in the way that they don't have quite as much body roll as Norby's machine, but that's often down to driver preference. There's Andre Kurzim in the Don't Touch Racing machine, number 11 ahead of Teo Calve, and Jose Rodriguez, who's doing another good job inside the top 10. This is effectively Jose's 13th year in the championship, but he's been making occasional appearances since 2010. Promoters Cup champion in 2017. So it's great to see that he's back on the pace with us here in 2022 in the newly rebranded Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Top 5 starting to spread out a little bit now. Steffi Halm in 6th place as well, has quite a bit of daylight between herself, Albacete and Kurzim. I'd say inside the top 5, the closest two are actually the T-Sport Bernal machine of Antonio Albacete and the Bagheera ZM racing truck of Adam Lachko. Janiak still right behind René Reiner as well. They've got Stefan Fast just behind. There's one of our poor penalty markers, which has been absolutely annihilated by one of the trucks at least. But you will see that they do start to stand up once again. There's an old song about getting knocked down and getting back up again, which I think is very, very appropriate for these wonderful penalty markers that do such a good job of notifying us of track limits and where they are. Janiak has got ahead of Reiner. They were 0.08 of a second separate across the line. But the bright yellow machine has got ahead of the blue and green 77 Iveco. That's Lion Truck Racing overtaking Reiner Racing. Frenchman overtaking German. Both of them have multiple wins in the championship overall as well. Janiak has 5 to his name. René Reiner has 13. René Reiner a bit more substantial in terms of the podiums. He has 41 from his time in the championship. 280 starts to the 377 of Anthony Janiak. There's a reminder for you that all of these trucks, while they are racing machines, they are still powered by 100% renewable HVO diesel. So it's nice, clean racing fun. And now that battle between Janiak and Reiner, now they swap places, has become a bit of a trio. René Reiner has a massive body panel hanging off that truck on the front right. Excuse me. We saw yesterday, actually, that he was not too keen on giving much room to the likes of Norbert Kish or Adam Lachko. He effectively was the reason that Adam was out of the race yesterday afternoon, as Stefan Fast pokes his nose down the inside, has a little bit of a look. But René was very abrupt in his defence and very aggressive in his defence of the race lead from Adam Lachko, moving over to the right to try and close off the racing line into turn 4 once they'd exited turn 3, which is a long, fast right-hander out of the first chicane. And I think maybe René is taking the same approach here this afternoon. And the number 25, which is Clemens Hecker, is under investigation because it's the 3rd time he's hit a penalty marker. So they'll be checking it out to see if he's gained any real time from that or gained any sort of advantage. And I'm told, actually, that he's going to get a drive-through penalty. That's a real shame. Welcome back to the grid, Clemens. But these things happen. This is motorsport. You can't be taking the mick with track limits. You can't be pushing too hard and gaining advantages where others are not. So it's a drive-through penalty for number 25. That goes in hand with the 10-second penalty for Jamie Anderson, which we saw handed out a little bit earlier. Anthony Janiak, though, remains ahead of Reiner and, of course, Stefan Fast. Antonio Albacete still behind Adam Lachko as well. And he's going to surely be trying to just reel him in bit by bit as the race continues. Thanks to the guys at Smart Witness for sending us the footage of Jamie Anderson and Shane Brayton. Had another look at it, and to be honest, it did look like Jamie just went in a little bit too hot into 13. Lost the back end of the truck, clipped Shane Brayton, and then it sort of took the right rear mudguard off, and then there was a further second hit. And that is what threw Shane Brayton all the way around A real shame as well, because the two were hoping to make substantial progress after qualifying much further down than we would have expected. Jamie did say himself, though, in the interview with Christina earlier, they'd been struggling with the pace of the truck and they had a very, very tough winter. So we get into the second half of the race now. This is the 7th lap. We've completed 6. Cameraman clearly agreeing with something I've said there. Norbert Kish leads the way, 3.4 seconds clear of Jochen Hahn. It's a very Norbert Kish-like performance, isn't it, this one? Once again, driving away from the front, putting in fastest lap after fastest lap. It's a 2:03.019, which is the best lap of the race, and that is by Norbert Kish. He did a 2:03.6 last time round, so he's not very far off that time still now, actually. Jochen Hahn second, Sascha Lenz third, then it's Lachko, Alboretti, Halman, then this battle for P7, André Kurzim and Théo Calvé. Théo, a real French superstar, double reigning French truck racing champion. He's actually been racing with Thomas Robineau in that championship. Thomas, in the last couple of years, has been in the top 3 in the standings at the end of each championship over in France, so he's certainly got pace to bring here to the FIA ETRC. Théo is currently leading the Promoters' Cup in this race as well for the Chrome-rated drivers. He won it yesterday in the first race. He had a penalty of 5 seconds, though, for causing the collision with Steffi Halm and was demoted to 3rd yesterday behind Shane Brereton and Stefan Fast. But it looks like he's going to start his day as he started yesterday with a Promoters' Cup win. Should anything not change that, I guess. More fans waving away to our beautiful drone with the fantastic views of all of the spectators and the grandstands here. It does make such a difference, not just to us in the actual series or the drivers as well and the teams, but everybody can just, you can feed off the vibe that you get by having all of these spectators, all of these fans at the circuit. The European Truck Racing Championship is growing and growing in popularity, and hopefully our live broadcasting helps that as well. Throughout the season, we've had wonderful figures and wonderful viewer figures throughout all of our broadcasts, and even our episodes of Truck Talk as well, talking about the more technical behind-the-scenes episodes and all of the details that goes into this racing series. If you haven't seen any of them, please do check it out on the YouTube channel. There is a lot that you can learn from all of the chats that we have there. And there's a lot that these drivers can learn by looking at Norbert Kish at the moment, because that truck just looks so planted. Even though the cab moves around, it just always seems like the floor of the truck itself, all 4 corners just look so planted and so well dug into the ground. Norby certainly has a way with making this truck work throughout the entire race. He's still in the 2:03s right now. He's the only driver that is lapping in the 2:03s. Jochen Hahn did a 2:04.2 last time round, 2:04.5 for Lenz, 2:04.9 for Lachko, and a 2:05.0 for Alboretti. So he's at least 1.1 seconds a lap quicker than 5th place at the moment is Norbert Kish. Penalty marker there, looking a little bit second-hand. But they tend to after a long, long weekend. I wonder how long it'll be before I return home with one in my suitcase, to be honest with you. It's a hell of a memento to have, isn't it? There's Adam Lachko just holding on ahead of Antonio Alboretti. A bit of bodywork actually hanging off the front right of Adam's truck there. You can see it's just sort of curving away on what is already a beautiful and curvy Freightliner. Looks very small in front of the MAN though, doesn't it? It's a very cat and mouse situation right now. This gap has certainly come flying down in the opening sector. Almost identical times through Sector 2, but Lachko was 2 and a bit tenths slower than Alboretti in the first sector. So Antonio's just been reeling him in here bit by bit. We had a titanic scrap between the two of them yesterday. 4 titles between them. Adam Lachko won the championship in 2017. And Antonio, with the massive CV that he's got that I've mentioned a few times this weekend, won it in 2005, 2006 and 2010. It's his 25th year with us this time round. Black and white flag gets thrown in the air for somebody there. Like I said yesterday, that marshal will have guns of steel after today. There were a number of black and white flags yesterday, just warning about penalty markers and track limits. But Antonio looks very, very purposeful right now. It seems that in the long run, Lachko's truck just isn't able to hold on to its tyres as well as he would have hoped. Don't think Sasha Lenz has got too much to worry about at this stage, though. He's got quite the gap over the pair of them, so even if Antonio gets through, I don't think he's got the pace to then go chasing after Sasha. We wait for them to come into shot, see if they're side by side once more. Adam's moved over to the left, Antonio over to the right. But as you'll see, these guys won't really get into the slipstream of one another down the straights. They're governed to 100 miles an hour, 160 kilometers an hour everywhere around the circuit. There is a limit, obviously on safety grounds, for these big old machines. So sitting in the slipstream with the truck behind you not only poses the risk of overspeeding, but also overheating the truck. And well, Lachko's overheated himself there, locks up into turn 10, makes it very easy for Antonio Albacete to get through, but he's got the exit though because of that wider line. Antonio feels the need to come over to the right. Adam's all over the back of him, nearly onto the grass there. And then what was I saying about not sitting in the slipstream? Well, Adam moves over to the left, and he now moves over to the right. But look how suddenly they've caught Sasha Lenz. Sasha's absolutely going backwards in this sector, and Antonio dives down the inside. They fly out of view. But all of a sudden, Sasha Lenz has lost a bucket load of time. He lost a good 6 seconds, 7 seconds actually, in the middle sector there. Albacete didn't make the move work, but he did get ahead of Adam Lachko, and he has managed to stay there. We'll have to see what happens to Sasha Lenz on this following lap. I'm not sure if he's got some sort of a problem, but big, big loss of time there. I did say a moment ago, didn't I, actually? It must be a commentator's curse. That's what it is. I said Sasha's not got too much to worry about with the guys behind. We're on to lap 11 of this race. There's only one more to go after this. Lachko throws it up the inside of Antonio. There is the move from Albacete as he goes through. Lachko had to go there into the chicane, but it didn't work for him. I'm keeping an eye peeled here for Sasha Lenz's truck just to see if there's any loss of momentum, any loss of speed. He must have surely just made a mistake into turn 8, which is down here at the end of the back straight. That is counted as a corner, that actually. That's turn 7 apparently. Now, here we go then. Truck number 2 after finishing second last season. Sasha Lenz taking it nice and easy into turn 8 this time. Antonio Albacete certainly wasn't. You could see him snatch the front left brake there. The truck wobbling around on its way into the corner. He could smell blood in the water right now, Kern Albacete. He knows to push very, very hard indeed. If he can pressurize Sasha Lenz and make some advances on him, then he just needs to get on with the job at hand. And he could potentially just pressurize him enough to force him into a mistake. As a racing driver, that's what you have to do sometimes. Here's the view forward from Sasha Lenz. It looks all nice and rosy from here. Keep your eyes forward. Don't worry about the trucks behind you. You might have a good day of it. But right behind him, though, as we're about to see as they come into the final couple of corners, is Antonio Albacete and Adam Lachko. Sasha Lenz is really a star of the championship. You know, he's absolutely brilliant. He's the only driver in the top 5 of this race that hasn't won a championship already. And he came incredibly, incredibly close last season, taking it down to the final race meeting. 2 podiums already this season to his name. Finished 3rd in the first race, 2nd in the second race. I'm pretty sure he was hoping to continue that pattern of improvement and take the race win in this one, but it doesn't seem likely right now. He's more focused on defending behind him. The man that is leading the race, though, is looking very, very good right now for his second race of the weekend. Second race win of the weekend, I should say. And his second race win of the season. Looks like Antonio's dropped off slightly from Sasha Lenz at this point. Don't think he's quite had the opening sector he would have wanted. But this guy's had the opening race that he would have wanted for today. Norbert Kish, as ever, completely dominant at the front of the pack. He did a 2:04.6 last time round, the only driver to do a lap in the 2:04s. Everyone else was 2:05s and above. To be fair, only Hahn, Lenz, Albacete and Lachko did 2:05s as well, and they were all a good half a second, 7/10 off Norby. The Hungarian driver has certainly earned himself a lot of fans around the world and really does fly the flag for the Hungarian nation when it comes to motorsport. He's raced in a lot of different things as well. He was Clio Cup Hungary champion in 2006, Seat Leon Cup champion in 2007 and 2008. In 2015, when he won the championship, he won 19 races. And look at this, he's showboating already for the fans. He's kicking the back end out and doing some drifting. You have to love Norbert Kish. What an absolute superstar. A real showman. Usually they do the drifting after the race, but through the final corner, Norbert Kish kicks the back end out, and look at that. Takes the win with style here at Misano. Norbert Kish, hands together. Jochen Hahn thinks, you know what? If you can't beat him, join him. He does some drifting as well. Absolutely love to see it. Another solid performance by Jochen Hahn. Sasha Lenz just holds on to the podium in third place ahead of Antonio Albacete and Adam Lachko. Those two as entertaining as ever. And Steffi Halm crosses the line after a very lonely race in sixth position, but if you finish equal to or better than where you started, that's a good day at the office. Next up is Andrei Kurzim, just beating Teo Calve to the line ahead of Jose Rodriguez and Anthony Janiak. Teo Calve takes the spoils in the Promoters' Cup. Rodriguez is going to be second. Stefan Fass gets another category podium there, just behind what's left of René Reiner's truck. Then it's Thomas Robineau and Jamie Anderson across the line. Shane Brereton will be the next truck then to come across.